Brr. Dude, they're gonna think
All
it's
right,
like just us now because it's already over.
from real life. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Week 5 review and our Week 6 preview. I'm Cooper. I'm your host, and here with me to talk about all things college football this week, it's CJ Gray. CJ, how you doing today?
Great, great as always. Another day here in Arizona. So yeah.
That's great. That's great. That's great. Trent, I believe he's at Outback Steakhouse right now. Um, I'm pretty sure that's where he's at.
I think
But
so. I
he,
think that's what he
but
said.
he might join us for the picks tonight. We will see. But for right now, it's just me and CJ to talk about all that has happened last week, and we're going to preview the next week as well. So last week was a very stacked week of college football, a lot of big games. So we're going to talk about five of the most important. I feel like that happened last week, and we're going to start off with the biggest game of the week: number 6 Oregon versus number 3 Penn State, ending in double overtime. Oregon winning 30-24. CJ, what were your thoughts on this game? What stood out to you?
Um, I think the biggest thing was Drew Aller's disappointing performance. We were looking for him to really take that hump as a top five quarterback in this quarterback class for this draft year, and just we haven't seen that yet. And that was probably his biggest game to do that in, and it was just a disappointing performance. And of course, threw a pick in the last game-winning drive for Penn State. So Dante Moore with an electric game, 29 for 39, 248 passing, and three touchdowns. So great from offensively on Oregon side of the ball, but just have to see better from the Penn State offense and Drew Aller.
Yep, yep. Yeah, I agree. This was a definitely a more defensive game than at least to start off in the first for 3 quarters. 10-3 Oregon after 3 quarters of play, and really just watching this game, you could kind of just see how dominant the defenses were. And I think these are two great aspects of these two teams that just kind of collided together. Love to see Penn State and Oregon's defenses kind of in that style of football that we don't really see a lot of in college football, but it was great to see that. Um, Obviously, I'd like to say that Drew Aller didn't give us a lot, and really the Penn State offense as a whole did not give us a lot. But I was kind of honestly predicting that Katron Allen and Nick Singleton combined for 75 yards off of 23 carries. It was not a good day for them. Drew Aller went 14 for 25, 137, two touchdowns, and the interception that lost them the game. It was really kind of just definitely a more disappointing day for Penn State offensive wise than Oregon. They started to pick up once it got to the fourth quarter, and I was actually impressed to see them have that game tying touchdown drive to put the game into overtime. But after that they did score again in the first overtime, but it really just kind of was disappointing, like you said, for the Penn State offense. I think for Oregon as well, it was a slow start, but they had a more consistent, I felt, offensive performance, and their defense held up pretty good too. Um, I don't think this is the end for Penn State. Obviously, I think that they still have a tough hill to climb with playing Ohio State, and I think they can get out of this year with 2 losses and go to the playoff. But I just don't see a major improvement in this team. Honestly, I see kind of a decline, which is kind of um, disheartening. But um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Penn State's future. What do you think about Penn State's future, CJ?
I just think with James Franklin, they've always been like in that good range of football team. I'd say they've just always been outside of a playoff team. And this would have been probably their best chance in probably the past 5 or so years to really prove that they could like take that hump as a program and get to that powerhouse level. And with the disappointing performance, I mean, it's not the end of the road, of course, but you kind of can't see the end is near if they just can't get a big program win, which they really need.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think James Franklin, he's always going to be good for this program, but I don't know if he's ever going to be great. I mean, you look last year, a lot of people point to them making the semifinals of the playoffs, but they played SMU and Boise State to get there. This
Yeah,
was really a prove it year. But I kind of said before even the game Saturday, I said that they were returning a bunch of guys, but that's really not what you look at when you're looking at how a team's going to improve, because those guys aren't going to improve magically over a couple months. Those are just going to be the same guys that you have. And so Penn State did return a lot of guys offensively, but they didn't really add a whole lot. I think their best add was Trevor Pena. He didn't really show out last night, or not last night, but last Saturday. And I mean, you're only going to be as good as, the players that you have or the coaching staff that you have. And that's always been the same for Penn State. And while they've always been good, they've never been great. And so I think something does have to change for Penn State this next year. They're obviously going to have a lot of change with I'm pretty sure Drew Aller and Katron Allen, Nick Singleton are all going to leave, and so that's going to be very interesting to see. But for right now, it's just kind of they're good and they're good enough to compete with these teams, but I don't know if they're going to ever go over the hump and be able to beat these teams and really dominate. So I'm not sure, but we'll see. It was a very good game. I'd say game of the week. And I will say it was a very good effort from Oregon, or not Oregon, but Penn State, to kind of come from behind, not come from behind, but they were against all odds. They kind of came back and their offense started to spark a little bit, and they were able to hold their own. I mean, you look at it, they were outgained, um, 474 yards to 276. Like, their offense was just not as good as and they were able to get a couple touchdowns and keep it in there. But I mean, it was Oregon's ball game to lose. I felt come the fourth quarter, they had the better offense. I felt, and they had a pretty good defense as well to go along with that. So, yeah. All right. Well, we will now move on to the second big game of the weekend that everybody was kind of looking at. College game that was not there. They were at Oregon Penn State. They're going to be at Alabama this week because Alabama beat Georgia 24-21 on the road, breaking, I believe, 41 straight home wins, or was it 21-41? I'm not sure, but um, a very impressive win from Alabama after not a really good start of their season. CJ, what did you think about this game, and what do you think about Alabama as a whole?
honestly, before this game, I said Ty Simpson probably wasn't going to show flashes of what he really could be. I was completely wrong. Ty Simpson proved me wrong and won this game. But I say just from a defensive perspective, is Georgia just not the best. Nobody on this Georgia team really stood out in this game. Like even Dunner Stockton being, I'd say, pretty efficient from the pocket, 13 for 20. Just they didn't pass the ball much at all. 130 passing yards with a touchdown. They ran the ball 33 times with 227 and two TDs. Um, I think a big flash from this game is just Alabama being 13 for 19 on third down, just really capitalizing and playing their brand of football, just taking care of the football as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree. I think this was a prove it game for Alabama. I think we all kind of came in looking at this game as like, okay, well, we all kind of think Georgia's going to win, but Alabama, this is their kind of get back game, if you would like to say that. And then they got their get back. This was a big second quarter, 17 points for Alabama in the second quarter. They didn't score after that, and so their defense really had to step up. And this was a defense that was advertised starting the season with to be one of the best, and they proved it in the second half. Georgia wasn't able to do a whole lot come the second half. I thought this was a good performance from Alabama, and I'm interested to see how they move along the rest of the season. But it's very confusing because the team that they just lost to Virginia, so it's just a very confusing time here, and you don't really know. Um, what you're going to get from this Alabama team. I am interested to see how they play against Vanderbilt this week, because I think Kalen DeBoer's style of football is that they play really good one week, and then the next week they're not really good. At least that's what it's been like so far at Alabama. So I'm very interested to see if this can be a consistent look that we get from Alabama. Is this the best that this team's going to get, or are they just going to keep getting better? Because I think there's definitely room for improvement. I think that they could have capitalized more in the second half and built their lead and not have had to kind of play this tight with this Georgia team. But I'm interested to see how the rest of this season shakes out for Alabama. And I think for Georgia, it's also you got to kind of go back to the drawing board here. And you had just had an explosive offensive game against Tennessee, and now your offense gets shut down against Alabama, who, I mean, it's a pretty good defense, but how are you going to be able to win games against good defenses when your offense plays like this? I'm not sure. They got dominated time of possession wise, 35 minutes to 24. It was really just kind of Alabama was able to hold their own against Georgia, and they were able to out physical them. So this is going to be an interesting thing to look at for the rest of the season for these two teams. I'm interested to see if Alabama can kind of keep their foot on the gas pedal, because they've been known not to under Kalen DeBoer. And then I'm also interested to see how this Georgia team is able to bounce back, and especially offensively. I think defensively they're going to be okay, even though early on they were down and they let up 14 to start off the game. I would really like to see how this Georgia team responds.
Yeah, this is their year to lose. So
Yeah.
hopefully a bounce back game next week.
Yeah. All right. Well, the next game that we're going to go over is another game that was looked at very highly to start out going into the week. It was LSU. It was number 4 LSU versus number 13 Ole Miss. Ole Miss beating LSU 24-19. CJ, what were your thoughts on this game?
If I'm being honest, as I was watching this game, I was rooting for LSU because that's who I picked to win. And I am a little salty right now, but Trinidad Chambliss had a pretty outstanding game. They didn't take care of the football that well, but just lit it up on the offensive side of the ball. Just an old-fashioned butt whooping. I can't even lie. Just not much to say about this game. Garrett Nussmeier, again, an okay performance on offense. Just didn't really take care of the ball. It just came down to who was really ultimately the better team. And I think the best team won this game. So,
Yep. I mean, I agree. I think this was you kind of looked at LSU and they just looked very stagnant on the offensive side of the ball. They gave up a turnover. They just weren't able to score the ball very well, I thought. It was a very just lackluster performance, I thought, from Garrett Nussmeier. I thought he wasn't able to move the ball very, very well. I thought that Trinidad Chambliss, like you said, was a very good quarterback, and he's been showing that the last couple of weeks. He was able to throw for 314 yards. He did have an interception, but he was able to make up for that with his just ability to run the ball and throw the ball. He had a great showing. Kawan Lacey as well had a pretty good showing running the ball. And you kind of look at it, LSU was kind of brought down by the fact that they didn't have Caden Durham, but Harlan Berry couldn't get anything going. Jawan Johnson wasn't able to do anything either, and it was just kind of a bad situation for LSU to be in, where they tried to rely on Garrett Nussmeier and he just couldn't get it done. And I thought I kind of predicted this. If To be completely honest, I still did have faith in this LSU team, but they just didn't look like they had a big offensive pop against Clemson. And as Clemson started to go downhill, you kind of wondered, okay, well, is this LSU team for real? And we had this game to look at to see, and obviously they they didn't show up, and their offense kind of looked the same as it did against Clemson as it did against Ole Miss, where they had sparks and they have the guys that really I think can make this team good. They have Barry on Brown, they have Nick Anderson, um, and just they weren't able to make it work today. I thought it was a great showing from the Ole Miss wide receiver group. Caden Lee, Daquan Wright, Deuce Alexander. I think were all very, very good. And so this was just kind of a day where LSU they scored early, but then they just could not put the ball. They could not put the ball through the end zone to score. I thought a lot of times, so it was just kind of a disappointing game from this offense. More, I mean, you look at it and I mean you look at it. Ole Miss had um, Ole Miss had 14 penalties for 109 yards this game. I think there's a lot to improve on if you're Ole Miss. This was like you said, the score didn't indicate, I thought, how this game really played out. Um, I thought that like it just wasn't really a good performance by this team. I thought from LSU they just didn't look great. They only scored 2 touchdowns. They had a couple of field goals. It just wasn't a good performance, I thought, from them. And so I think there's a lot to improve on if you're Ole Miss. I think if you clean up these penalties and a couple other things go your way, you're looking at a 2-score, 3-score win. If you're LSU, it kind of looks bleak because this offense really can't produce.
This offense always looks, I say, like you said, very stagnant. No one really looks comfortable in the scheme they're running.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say it's year, what, 3 for Garrett Nussmeier? 2?
Year 2.
Yeah, year 2 in this LSU offense. Just this is year 2 to really show yourself you being comfortable, show yourself off as a passer. He has the legs sometimes if needed, but we just don't see it really from a fan perspective as we go deeper into weeks and weeks. It's just it hasn't looked very good. It kind of looked very similar to this Clemson game where they
Yeah,
did sneak out a win. So
I agree. All right. Well, we will go to now the surprise game of the week. But I predicted. I said during the picks, I said that this game was going to be good, and I wanted to pick it as my upset pick. And everybody thought I was crazy, but Virginia pulled off the upset in Charlottesville, 46-38 against Florida State. CJ, what are your reactions to this game? What's your take?
Charlottesville was electric on a Friday night, and honestly, I should have picked the upset as well, but an amazing game. We were all in our group chat cheering for Virginia during this game. It was so electric. It was so fun. But
Mm-hmm.
an amazing game. I mean, Virginia ran the ball very dominantly, 48 rushes to 211 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. Um, but Florida State also did as well. Just a very dominant um, run game, football game, and it was a shootout to the end.
Yeah, I mean, this was I mean, first off, best field storm of the year, I think, in my opinion. And just after a Virginia interception, just immediately they run out onto the field.
Yeah,
It was
Squirrel White
crazy.
getting trampled in the end zone.
It was crazy.
It was a sight to see.
Um, but yeah, I thought this could have been an upset. I thought that this was a kind of trap game for Florida State Friday night on the road. Next week, you're playing a top 5 team. All the signs of an upset. I should have picked Virginia here, but I'm a little baby, so I did not. But I think one of the big things to look at from this game is just the turnovers early on. Florida State gave up 2 big turnovers that ended up giving Virginia momentum in this game. And they never really gave it back up. Now, the game got tied back up, and it was still kind of a close game throughout. But I think the turnovers were really a big thing in this game, and Virginia as well had a bunch of turnovers. I think a big thing to take away from this game is that these 2 teams were not perfect. Like this was not a game of like Virginia played the perfect game, and Florida State just did a couple things wrong. It was like
It
Florida
was never pure dominance. I will
No,
say that.
Florida State had a lot of opportunity. Chandler Morris had 3 interceptions. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of opportunity for Florida State to win this game, and there was a couple opportunities for Virginia to win this game as well. I mean, Virginia could have closed it out in regulation, but Florida State impressively was able to fight back. This game, like, just should have. I mean, they scored field goals in the first overtime. Like, there was a good defensive effort from both these teams, but the thing I was most surprised by was how Virginia was able to run the ball on Florida State. I felt something that I was impressed by when they played Alabama was their defense and their front seven, and how they were able to get pressure and how physical they were, and they just didn't look like that against Virginia. And so I think they had a good they ran the ball pretty good. They did everything that right. It was just at the end of the day, Virginia looked like they wanted it more. I felt like, and it's tough to see for Florida State that they lose this game, and now they got to play Miami next week, and they're probably going to lose that one. But I don't think all hope is lost for Florida State. I still like a lot of things from this team. I like Deuce Robinson. He had a great game, 9 catches, 147 yards, and a touchdown. Tommy Castellanos, I mean, even though he had 2 interceptions, one of them was in overtime, which I don't really count, but I mean, he still had a pretty good game, 18 for 32.
I'd count it as one pick. That overtime pick doesn't matter.
Yeah. He was just trying to force something there, but
Yeah.
just like it was a it was a game where you're kind of like waiting for Florida State to take over, and they just never did. I do think that there's still room to improve here for this Florida State team. I don't think all hope is lost. This is not like a LSU situation, I feel like, where the offense is just completely lost, and you can't really, or I don't even think LSU's offense is completely lost. It's just like there was a lot of juice to this team. It just felt like they weren't able to close it out, and so I think there's still room to improve here, but just very disappointing to lose this game to Virginia. And if you're Virginia, I don't necessarily think this is a top 25 team. I don't think that this team's going to be in the rankings for that long. It's just like they were in here because they beat Florida State. But
Yeah.
I do think that at the end of the day, this was more of a trap game. I felt like for Florida State, and I should have picked them. But at the end of the day, good game. Good. I mean, possibly best game of the week. I did say that Oregon Penn State was the best game of the week, but this one, as I'm kind of thinking about it, going back, this could be possibly the game of the week. I feel like, just because of
from as a game, yeah, but it
Yeah.
had really no playoff implications. So I'd say
yeah.
Penn State.
All right. Well, we will head to our final game that we'll talk about from last week. That would be Tennessee against Mississippi State. Tennessee beating Mississippi State in overtime, 41-34. CJ, what were your thoughts on this game? What did you think about it?
I was so scared watching this game because we had so many opportunities to put this game away and win and be up by 2 or 3 scores. And just mistakes on our end just kept Mississippi State in the game. And not a great game from Blake Shapen. We gave him opportunity after opportunity to win the game, but ultimately Joey Aguilar, being the great quarterback he is, pulled us through. Mike Kitselman, or Miles Kitselman, sorry, causing Joey Aguilar to have 2 interceptions. I just feel bad for Joey Aguilar because he had a great game. Don't look at the stats. On paper, it's an average game, but he should not have had 2 picks, and he probably should have had 6 more completed passes. A very accurate game and a very good well managed game as well. Just as long as we clean up mental mistakes, we should be not putting up performances like this anymore. So
yeah, I think this for Joey Aguilar. I think this was more of a game of how the receiving core kind of
A
was bad,
letdown.
was a letdown. I
Besides Chris
definitely,
Brazel, he had another amazing game, a touchdown taken away from a pretty bad PI call as well,
yeah,
which is another reason why we should have been up two or three scores, but we won, and that's all that
yeah,
matters.
yeah. I think this was a impressive effort from the Tennessee defense, able to get a scoop and score, able to stop Mississippi State, um, and uh, and really just kind of have a good this was a good defensive effort coming down the stretch. And Joey Aguilar, I think, is still looked pretty good. He was able to lead this team to a game tying drive. Um, I think it was a tough loss for Mississippi State because I mean you win this game, and they had some opportunities to win this game. Um, if they were just able to, stop Tennessee on fourth down, 5 minutes to go. I mean, you you start to run out the clock a little bit. You don't know what happens in this game, and so there was a lot of different ways this game could have gone. I felt like um, the refereeing was definitely questionable, but this was definitely a good game. Um, and I'm looking forward to see how this Tennessee team responds from a close loss like that. Will this kind of be a continuing pattern for them, or is this something that they will improve off of? And that's just gonna have to be something that we'll see. They have a bye week this week, and we'll see how the receiving group responds to that. We'll see how if the defense is able to stay like it is, and we'll see if Joey Aguilar can improve throughout the season like he should. But for Mississippi State, this just starts the big road of games that they're going to have to play. They play Texas A&M next week. Blake Shapen didn't look that great. It was a week that this was a game that defined the season. I felt like Mississippi State, and losing this one is tough, and especially in the way that they did in overtime. And it really didn't feel like they gave up that great of a fight in overtime, but good, but definitely a good game. And I thought that this was this was a good effort from Tennessee to win this game when it kind of felt like at some points they shouldn't have.
We deserve to win the game for all 48 minutes, or sorry, 60 minutes.
60
Same high
minutes.
school,
Okay.
same high
All
school.
right. Get your that's basketball, boy.
Yeah,
All right. Um so that will do us for this the week 5 games. Now we're going to look at the college football rankings for this week. CJ, what stands out to you from the top 10 or really any of the rankings this week?
I think we can just look at the top 10 first.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Penn State being 7, even though they did lose in overtime, I just think they haven't been showing that they are that powerhouse team. They could have dropped a little bit lower. And honestly, I have no other complaints. I'm happy to see Ole Miss in the top 4. They've been playing amazing. Oregon at 2 is deserving. So is Miami at 3. We'll see this next week against Florida State. But other than that, I am pretty happy with this. Alabama at 10 may be a little bit of a reach, but other than that, I'm cool with this.
Yeah, that I think the top 5 looks good. I think Ole Miss going up to 9 is fine, or going up to 4, moving up 9 spots is fine. I think Oklahoma at 5 is okay. Texas A&M, that's okay. Um, Indiana still moving up. I'm not sure, but you don't
It's
really
just
know
kind
where to.
of a I mean, I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's just I'm just fine. I don't see why they deserve to move up 3 spots, but
Yeah, I think
I do feel like they would beat Texas, Alabama, and probably not Georgia. They probably wouldn't beat some of these teams behind them. Georgia at 12 is kind of a
Yeah, I think Georgia
laugh.
and LSU at 12 and 13 is okay. I think Georgia's still. looks pretty good compared to LSU, and for them to only be a spot above LSU is kind of questionable, but who knows? I think as long as you just keep Georgia above Tennessee, I think that's fine. So I think I think looking at it, Vanderbilt still moving up. They'll prove their spot by playing Alabama this week. Um, I don't know. Like I said, Virginia being at 24 is kind of a reach. Um, and then I think that Florida State, if Virginia's the 24th best team in the country now, Florida State losing to them in double overtime on the road is crazy. Moving down 10 spots is crazy.
Yeah,
Like just looking at it, I mean, like it just makes like zero sense. Same thing like the logic of like what's the criteria? I feel like because it's like
I do
are
feel
we
like
just
what
are
is
we
the
just
criteria for ranks this year, and it makes me wonder the criteria for when the playoff spots kind of get chosen later in the season. Will it be the best team or the most deserving? And I feel like we've been flip flopping for the past couple of years between those two.
yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna be something that we're gonna have to look at for the rest of the year. Um, but I don't know. I think I think other than that, these rankings look okay. Illinois still in there doesn't I mean they did beat USC, but
I still am. I'm
it
not
just
convinced they
makes
should be ranked.
it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense the last 2 weeks for Illinois. I think you lose you lose by what
50 plus
53
points. Yeah,
and then you
against,
beat USC the next week. It's like
and now all of a
I,
sudden you're 22.
I don't know. It well they were still ranked. And
Yeah, I
then now they're
know, but
22
just
and it's like I I don't know. It's definitely something that will be probably worked out by them playing another good team and they'll just lose. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's very interesting.
yeah, it definitely is something. But hopefully Vanderbilt beats Alabama this next week, and we have
Oh
a
yeah.
nice
And
little.
Vanderbilt gets in the top 10. That would be something.
I'd
Um
love to see it,
I'd
and
love to see Vanderbilt in the top 10.
that'd be an even better game for us when we go.
Yup. Yup. Um what else? We can talk about the Sam Pittman firing for Arkansas. Any thoughts on that, CJ?
Again, I'm just gonna go with the same thing with the OSU firing with Mike Gundy. I just think it serves no purpose to fire mid-season. Like I don't see the benefit from it. All I see is the loss that you gain, just the loss of a head coach, just the uncertainty you have in your program, the selling point you have at Arkansas, and just you leave deserving kids without a coach that they've had throughout this whole off season, throughout this whole year, and it just kind of leaves a blank space in your program, just to probably not get any better this entire year. I guess you get a head start at next year, but you're basically saying we're just going to scrap this year and we're going to move on to the next, which I think those kids don't deserve. So,
Yep. I mean, you look at it, Arkansas definitely was not in a good place this year. I think
not at
you
all.
look at there were a lot better expectations from this year. I think the big thing was when they lost to Memphis that stuff started to crumble. I think losing to Ole Miss, definitely looking at it hindsight's okay, and I think that loss now actually kind of looks decent. But the Notre Dame loss this week kind of tipped it over the edge for everybody. I think they got blown out. They got blown out. I'm not sure the exact score, like 55-13 or something. It was bad. But just looking at it, like I don't know. I think there's been a whole staff overhaul. Like Bobby Petrino, who is now or Bobby Bettino, who the old former head coach for Arkansas. He's obviously the old coach at Louisville. He's now back. And he has kind of wept out. He sweeped out the entire coaching staff almost, and he's gotten rid of the defensive coordinator, which I think that was the main point that needed to be addressed was the defense, and I think the offense didn't look amazing, especially not last week, but I think there's promise there, but the defense just has not looked good this year for Arkansas, and so I just like you said, I don't really agree with the point of firing somebody midseason, but I mean, at some point it has to be done. And I think this season's already a wash for Arkansas. Um, and you don't really know where you're going to go from here. But Taylon Green is somebody that you want to have every single game mean something with. And I think he's a really good talent. And I think it's kind of a shame that he's on Arkansas and that he's getting wasted away. But it is what it is. And yeah, I think it's a it's a bad situation right now in Arkansas, and so we'll see how that all plays out. But any more thoughts on the AP Top 25 or the Sam Pittman firing, CJ?
I think we touched it all.
Okay. All right. Well, then we will head on to our picks for this week. We might be seeing Trent here in a minute to pick some of these games, but we will see. So we only have 12 games this week. I would say that this is kind of this is not as good of a slate as
You can
some
just
of
say it's
the.
bad. I mean, you don't have
It's
to lie.
it's a bad slate. It's
Yeah.
it's not great. It's not great. Um, there's pretty good games this week, and then the rest is kind of just like eh. But to have really good slates, you have to have bad slates sometimes.
Yeah.
So that is what it is. But we're going to start out with a Friday night game. West Virginia at BYU. CJ, who do you got in this one?
Give me the Cougars.
All right. All right. I will agree with you. I think Bear Bachmeyer has been good so far. I think West Virginia does have some fight in them. They beat Pitt the other week. They're 2-3 though, and I think at home BYU is going to play pretty good. Um, so that is going to be a pretty clear win for BYU.
BYU has a nice home atmosphere. I won't lie. I mean,
They
it
do
doesn't
have a pretty
compare
good
to some.
stadium. It's a beautiful stadium.
Yeah,
It's like
it doesn't
there's
compare
mountains
to.
in the background. It's
Yeah,
beautiful. But yeah, I think I think they're going to pretty handedly win that game. But we will now go to Saturday afternoon noon kickoff on ABC. It's Kentucky at Georgia. CJ, who do you got here?
just give me the obvious pick. I'll go Georgia with Gunnar Stockton. Not a amazing game last game, but I think he'll show up this week.
All I'm gonna say is this could be a good game.
I
You look
won't say it's going to be a absolute dominance, but I
you
I
look
don't think Georgia's going to
historically.
win.
You look historically. I think this could be okay. The only thing that pushes me into this maybe not being upset potential is that Georgia is playing at home. So I do think that Georgia will get it done. But I do
I do
think
agree.
that
If this was an away game, I think it would be a little bit different.
yeah, but I do think that Georgia gets it done. But this could be a good game. I think if Georgia just can't score, like if they can't score a touchdown, they have to settle for field goals again. Like I think that this could definitely go in a. I mean, I think Georgia wins this game regardless, but I think this could be close, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So, all right, next game that we're going to be talking about is Wisconsin at Michigan. CJ, who do you got here?
Give me Michigan. I feel like these are just the obvious picks. Sorry for being a little boring here, but I see no reason to pick Wisconsin over Bryce Underwood, Michigan.
Okay.
Hopefully, it's going to be a dominant running game for Michigan in this game, as Wisconsin kind of struggles in the front seven.
Um. Okay. I will say I don't know because I think Wisconsin has a pretty good defense, and Michigan doesn't have the best offense, and so I think this could be a low-scoring game, and I think that this could maybe go Wisconsin's way, but I do think Michigan proved
Wisconsin hasn't shown
themselves.
enough flashes on defensive
Yeah,
consistency for me to really pick them. So I
yeah.
think I'll stay with Michigan.
I will. I will. I'll go Michigan here. I think Michigan did kind of prove themselves to be a decent Big Ten player, or a decent Big Ten team when they played Nebraska and won on the road. So I do think that this is going to be a win for Michigan. This could be close though. So
Could be.
next game that we will talk about is interesting game. It is Clemson at UNC. CJ, give me your pick here.
Dude, I want to see what you pick first. Honestly, are you going to pick against Clay Klubnik this week?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know.
I really don't know either because you embarrassed me when I picked Clemson. But I can't pick UNC. That's just that's just dumb. I think I'll go K Klubnik and the Clemson Tigers.
Okay.
We have to see a consistent offense in this game. UNC of course struggles on every side of the ball. This shouldn't be a too much tough task for Clemson, but I feel like if you can't establish a running game like you have not in the past, then this could get ugly.
Yeah. I think that this is a tough one because I am 1-3, or I am 1-3 when picking Clemson games so far this year. So, not great. And I've picked Clemson every single time. This is on the road. We're coming off a bye week. I'll go Clemson. And if they lose this week, I'm done. I'm not even gonna like.
Yeah, if
I'm
they
not
lose,
even gonna
I
put them
probably
on this.
refrain from picking.
I'm not, but I can't go against my dogs. I think if I had to give a good analysis on this game, I think that it's just that UNC stinks worse. I think
Yeah, I'd say
that
the two cheeks from the
I'm
same
interested
butt.
to see. I'm interested to see if they start Gio Lopez. I'm sure. I would hope yes for Clemson's sake, but if for UNC's sake that they start they need to start Max Johnson. Gio Lopez has not been good for them, and he has not really shown consistency at all. And so I think that
How good is Max Johnson's transfer gone? Let's talk about that.
well,
Jeez.
not great.
Not
He
good.
blew up his Achilles first game,
Yeah,
and now he's getting benched for Gio Lopez. So like
not a great transfer
horrible.
decision.
No. But I mean, I think that this could go UNC's way if like Clemson just cannot score. But hopefully after a bye week, I would assume that this would go Clemson's way here. And I think if they lose this game, I think there's going to be like a lot of concern. I think there could be two
Someone
ways.
will be getting fired.
Yes.
And I'd
So
probably put it on Garrett Riley, if anybody.
yeah.
But
we'll talk of we will probably definitely talk about if Clemson loses this game. We'll probably talk about it. But hopefully, at least for me, they just win this game, take care of business, and we keep the season rolling. But we'll see. Next game that we talk about is going to be Texas at Florida. Texas going into the swamp. This looked like a lot better of a game like 4 weeks ago than it did
yeah,
now.
preseason this was a banger.
Yeah, people
But
were
give me
marking
Texas.
this.
We don't even
Okay.
have to talk about it. Just give me Texas.
You're giving yourself Texas here. I think possibly this could be a sleeper game, but I'm gonna go Texas.
Texas really hasn't faced a opponent in the last few weeks that have been wow that they have played a great game. Especially
Yeah,
talking
this is
about
the first.
arch
This
enemy.
is I believe this is the first game that they're going to be playing that since
And
Ohio State.
Florida has a great defense.
Yeah, Florida does have a great defense. I'm interested to see how that matchup faces off, and that's why I'm saying that it's going to be a decent game because I think if the defense is able to hold, I think this could be a close game. 13-6,
That would flip
10,
some things upside down
10
if
to
Florida really won this game.
that would be crazy. I think it's just going to be interesting to see like what would happen if they were able to just kind of if their offense was able to just or their defense was able to keep this close.
Yeah.
And so I don't think their offense is going to do a whole lot, but we'll see. Um Next game that we're going to talk about is Boise State at Notre Dame. CJ, what are your thoughts here?
Give me CJ Carr and the Fighting Irish. No questions asked.
Okay. I agree with you. I think this Notre Dame team has looked better and better each week, especially against Arkansas on the road. I think Boise State's kind of walking into a death trap here. I don't think that this is going to be. I don't think this is going to be close. I think this is going to be a blowout. This would be a game that I would be shocked to see if it was an upset. I think Notre Dame should handle this with ease. So I'll go Notre Dame here. Next game that we're going to be talking about is Virginia at Louisville. CJ, who do you got here?
Sneaky game. I'll go Virginia off their high win off of Florida State. A huge contender in the ACC right now, believe it or not. So
Yep. This is where I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to pick against you here. On the road playing at Louisville. I don't think Virginia. I think Virginia. This is going to be a game where they are looking back at last week and not looking towards the next week. And I think Louisville is a good team. I love their offense. I love Miller Moss. I think Isaac Brown's going to be good as well. And I think that this is going to be a game that is going to you're going to look at it coming out of week 6 and you're going to be like, dang, for Louisville won this game. And they did. And I think Virginia, like I said, is not the 24th best team in the country. I think this was a one-time occurrence against Florida State. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think Louisville is going to win this game handedly.
Virginia's a 4-1 football team. So
Louisville's a 4-0 football team. So
that's true also. That's a good game. I won't lie. I mean, it is an ACC kind of like middle of the pack game, but good game nonetheless.
It's a good game. It's a good game. Texas Tech at Houston. What's your prediction there, CJ?
Give me my Red Raiders. Give me that Raider rash.
Okay. This is an undefeated matchup. Texas Tech at Houston. And I will go Texas Tech. I'm really biting my tongue because last week you look at it. I picked Washington to beat Ohio State, and I feel like that if I just picked Ohio State and was normal, I could have a better record than both Trent and CJ. So I think I got to make these picks conservatively.
If that.
But I do think that Houston has a pretty good chance here. If they've not turned the ball over a lot in their first couple of games, I think this could be a pretty good game. So I do think that this is going to be a good game as well, and I think that there's a chance that Houston can pull off an upset. That's all I'm going to say.
Heck yeah.
All right, next game is Minnesota at Ohio State. What are your opinions here, CJ?
I think we just go Ohio State and move on to the next pick.
Okay. I'm gonna go Ohio State here. I'm not gonna pick the upset against Ohio State 2 weeks in a row. So I think Ohio State. There was a chance that Washington could have beat Ohio State last week if they just played a lot better offensively. So that's all I'm going to say there. But next game that we're going to be picking is Mississippi State at Texas A&M. CJ, what are your thoughts on this game?
A part of me wants to go Mississippi State just because we played a bad game last week and we kind of gave them the respect they should not have deserved. But I'm just going to go Texas A&M. Yeah, just give me Texas A&M, even though my heart wants to go Mississippi State. Blake Shapen just isn't too good.
Yep.
A little bit of own line trouble in that last game, but his pocket.
Yeah, looking at this one, I'm definitely tempted as well, but I'm going to go Texas A&M. They've looked solid so far, and I don't think that at home they're going to lose this game to Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State didn't look the best offensively, but I do think it's going to be trouble if Mississippi State starts to run the ball on Texas A&M. But we'll see. We'll see if they are able to if they're able to maybe pull off something. We'll see. But I definitely think that's a game to watch. So the next game, the final two games that we will be picking are the two biggest games of the week. First one, Vanderbilt at Alabama, number 16 versus number 10. CJ, what are your thoughts here?
Give me Diego Pavia and the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Okay.
Give me the upset.
He's going Vanderbilt, and I'm going to go Alabama. I think I really do want to pick Vanderbilt, and I would love to be right.
I feel like if I didn't pick Vanderbilt, you would have been more inclined to go with
I would, yes, definitely. I would have picked Vanderbilt if you didn't, but I'm gonna take Alabama here. I think they looked very solid against Georgia on the road, and now they get a game at home. And this is, like I said, I think if they are able to bring everything that they just got last week or that they did last week over into this week, I think that's going to be a major improvement from what last year they were able to do, because last year they were very inconsistent. And this year I think that it's going to be that's going to be the question that we're all going to be asking, and that I'm asking.
I think
right
we
now.
still see it though. I think we still see that same inconsistencies of just like not a stable offense. Here we have a blown play here on defense. I think we just haven't really seen a consistent Alabama team with this Kalen DeBoer head coach team. I don't know. So I think I'm going to go Vanderbilt here.
Okay. All right. Well, we will head to our final game of the week that we are going to pick. It is Miami at Florida State. CJ, who do you pick here?
I'll just go Miami because they've been clicking on all cylinders. FSU's coming off a very tough loss away at at Virginia. Oh my God, dude!
Charlottesville.
Gosh, at Virginia in Charlottesville. Tony Elliott, great game. I think this is their prove it game, but I think Miami's just been clicking on all cylinders. Carson Beck's been looking really good, just managing the ball very well. Give me Miami.
All right. Well, I'm going to pick Miami as well. I think that they are possibly the number one team in the country. I think they've looked very good. They've looked very good over the last couple of weeks. And this is going to be a big test. It's on the road, but I do think that they will prevail here against Florida State, and it's going to be very interesting if they do lose. But I do think that they will win this game pretty handedly, or not pretty handedly, but it'll be a little bit close. But I think that just their pro-style offense and their defense is what's going to prevail them forward in this game. So with that, our picks are done. We will get Trent's picks. We were trying to see if he would show up, but I guess he's too busy doing garbage right now. So
yeah, whatever that boy's doing.
He's a busy man. is all I've got to say. Maybe next week he will be on here, but maybe he's going raising canes. I don't know what he's doing, but he's always doing something. So
Raising Cane's about 2 hours away.
and he'll go there, and then he'll make you feel like you're in the wrong. So
Yeah.
whatever.
All right.
Whatever. But thank you for watching this live. We appreciate it. CJ, any final thoughts?
Thank you to all our viewers. This is always fun. So yeah.
Yes, this is always fun. We will be back. Hopefully, we will be back next Wednesday. You'll see on the Instagram if we're not, but Wednesday is the day that we do live shows. Make sure to follow the Instagram, subscribe here on the YouTube, like and comment, and smash that notification button, and make sure to follow TikTok. We're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff over the season, so make sure to check it out. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Peace out.
More on-site games coming soon.
More on-site games coming soon. We'll see ya.